Over a decade ago, Ford Performance took a risk by offering the very first ever SVT Raptor version of the very popular F-150. Now back then, it was an experiment because no other manufacturer offered a true factory-tuned off-road performance truck until the Raptor came around. Now of course, what started as an experiment turned out to be a huge sales success, and for 2021, Ford is introducing an all-new third-generation version of the Raptor. Just like the new F-150, it's built off of a redesigned frame with a new suspension, upgrades to the powertrain, and a completely revised interior. Now, of course, the segment of off-road performance-oriented trucks is growing, so the big question I want to answer is, has Ford made enough changes to keep the Raptor the king of the segment? Stay tuned to find out. Hey guys, I want to interrupt this review to give a brief shout out to the sponsor of this video, Keeps. Now what exactly is Keeps? Well, they're an online subscription service that provides doctor-recommended hair loss treatment plans. Because they are online, they offer 24/7 support and proven results. I should know because I've been using Keeps for well over 2 years, and let me tell you, it's one of the best products out there that allows you to keep the hair that you still have left on your head. The other great thing about it for me is the fact that it's so easy to fit into my daily routine. Every day I take one of these small pills once in the morning, and then twice a day I use this mousse once in the morning, once at night. And like I said earlier, it's just super easy to fit into my daily life. So what are you waiting for, guys? Hair loss stops now with Keeps, and in order to save up to 50% off of your first order, be sure to go to www.keeps.com/redline, or you can just click in the link in the description below. And now, let's get back to the video. So there was a time where the F-150 Raptor was the only player in town when you wanted a performance factory-tuned off-road truck. So Ford necessarily didn't need to offer a super special powertrain, and the original model actually didn't. It started out with a 5.4-liter V8. However, Ram really changed things up last year with the all-new TRX, and Ford had to respond with the new Raptor. Now, of course, this is not the upcoming Raptor R, which we should be seeing later this year. This has a carryover version of the 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 that Ford introduced in the second generation Raptor back in 2017. It still makes the same 450 horsepower, which is nothing to sneeze at, and 510 pound-feet of torque. Remember, this is the high output 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6 engine. The Raptor is the only F-150 model to get this powertrain. It goes out through a revised 10-speed automatic, and then of course 4-wheel drive is going to be standard with a locking limited slip rear differential and an optional Torsen limited slip center differential. Now with this revised powertrain, the fuel economy figures have been altered slightly. This one here is rated at 15 in the city and 18 on the highway because I have the standard 35-inch tall tires. If you guys want to upgrade to a new 37-inch tall tire, which Ford says is the biggest tire you can find from a factory built truck, the fuel economy on the highway drops to 16, which is still better versus the Ram TRX, which is literally the thirstiest new truck that you can buy in the segment. Now, because the new Raptor is still built off of the all-aluminum chassis as the regular F-150, this truck actually doesn't weigh any more versus the previous generation. As this one sits, it's right at around 5,700 pounds, almost 1,000 pounds lighter than the Ram TRX. So obviously that's going to help it out with performance. Ford Performance doesn't actually quote a 0-60 time. We'll test that out, of course, since we have our equipment and we have this truck for a full week. And if you guys are planning to tow, this will now tow a maximum of 8,200 pounds. That's about 200 pounds more versus the previous generation. It'll also carry a maximum of 1,410 pounds in the bed. And if you guys are looking for more performance, like I said, the Raptor R is coming with a supercharged 5.2-liter V8, which we should be seeing later this year. Now, closing the hood, let's talk about the styling of this new Raptor. Now, of course, we have the usual styling cues for a Raptor. First of all, the truck itself is about 6 inches wider versus a regular F-150. 6 inches, which means this truck is around 86.7 inches wide. It's over 7 feet wide. But despite how wide it already is, the Ram TRX is actually about 1.5 inches wider, if you can believe it. The grille, you can see, has been revised. You have that big Ford spelled out in the grille, which is very exclusive to the Raptor. You have these signature 3 LED light signatures here that showcase how wide this vehicle is. Because it's over 80 inches wide, it needs those 3 lights. All Raptors now come standard with full LED headlights. This has the upgraded LEDs, which swivel and they're adaptive. You have LED low and high beams. You have an LED daytime running light. They're actually amber illuminated LED turn signals. And then down here you can see new Rigid Industries fog lights here, which are going to be much more durable. There's actually a little cover here. This cover can be removed, where you can use that when you're actually off-roading. It's not street legal to use which is why Ford actually covers it from the factory. The rest of the front bumper you can see has recovery tow hooks. It has a really great approach angle. It's got that full bash plate in the front. And this truck, as you can see, just looks really badass. It's always looked great. I think Ford basically refined the look here. It doesn't look all that new, but I think that it looks better in my eyes versus the Ram TRX. Now, looking at the rest of the profile for this truck, you can see Ford made one critical change this year. They used to offer this vehicle in a super cab configuration, which was like the half doors. Now you can only get the Raptor in the model that it technically sold in better, which is the crew cab with the shorter 5.5 foot bed. That's what everybody tends to buy. And you can see this code orange paint in the sunlight looks fantastic with the gray fender flares, the 35-inch tall tires that come standard. These are BF Goodrich all-terrain KO2 tires with a 17-inch beadlock capable wheel. Now, if this isn't big enough, Ford also offers for about $5,200 a Raptor 37 package, which will upgrade the wheels by 2 inches to a 37. That is the biggest tire that you can get on a production 1500 series truck. Ford says all Raptors will now come with 12 inches of ground clearance. That's an increase of about a half an inch versus the previous generation. If you guys go up to the 37-inch tall tire, that'll actually increase the ground clearance to 13.1 inches, which again, more than what you get in the Ram TRX. The Fox Racing live valve adaptive shocks in the vehicle also give you an amazing amount of travel. The front suspension has been slightly tweaked. You get 14 inches of travel in the front and then 15 inches of travel in the rear. That's more again versus the Ram TRX. So Ford figures if they can't beat the Ram in terms of horsepower for now, they're going to beat it out in terms of the suspension, because remember, these are trucks that are designed to go off-roading. They're designed to do jumps in the desert, and Ford really wanted to make sure the suspension could handle that. Now, of course, on the rear, this is where the big story is for the new Raptor, because Ford has replaced the leaf springs in the back with a coil spring setup. It's a 5-link coil spring design with a panhard rod. That new suspension is going to give the Raptor better ride and handling. It's going to also give it better capability when you guys are actually off-roading, and this is why this truck here offers up to 15 inches of wheel travel. Now, keep in mind, that's with the 35-inch tall tire. If you guys upgrade to the 37, you're going to lose about an inch of wheel travel in the back and the front, but you're going to gain that extra inch in terms of ground clearance, so it's a give and take here. Now, looking at the rear of the truck, you can see you've got that Ford Raptor spell, or the Ford spell out in the back. My tester has a high package that kind of gives you this more of that gray textured black plastic here covering the tailgate. I actually like how this breaks up some of the orange. If you guys don't get the high package, you're not going to get this kind of gray plastic at the back. I kind of almost wish that Raptor was a little bit larger versus Ford, but that's always been kind of a signature styling element here. The rear bumper, you can see this model already has the tow package. It has the usual hookups here. And then the exhaust system on this vehicle, it's got that signature dual exhaust layout. However, the previous generation was criticized heavily by enthusiasts and myself for having a weak sounding V6. Ford has definitely rectified that with an active exhaust. I'll show you guys what that sounds like later on the inside and during the driving scene. Now, looking at the tailgate, because my tester has the high package, this has a power opening and closing tailgate, which is definitely a really nice feature to have. It also has this bed step, which very typical with other Ford models. It's got this little area here where you can pop this out, give you a little handle here, and it gives you a nice little step here, so it can help short people like myself get into the actual bed. Now, once you're back here in the bed, you can see this is a very usable 5.5 foot bed. My tester has the spray-in bed liner in this vehicle, which most people are gonna get. And then it also has the Pro Power on board system. So over here, you can see there's actually up to 2,000 watts of power that's usable back here, where you could use it to power camping equipment. You can use it to power small appliances. Keep in mind, this is on the smaller end. If you guys go for a regular or an F-150 hybrid, which is the Power Boost, Ford offers up to 7,200 watts of power back here. So I kind of wish that Ford would offer the bigger one, but they don't offer it because you cannot get the hybrid powertrain in the Raptor. So let's go ahead and talk about the inside of the new F-150 Raptor. The first thing I want to show you guys here is the key fob for the vehicle. You guys have seen this Ford key fob before. It's a fairly large key. It does say Raptor on the back to let you know that you do have a Raptor. You can also probably access this via the My Ford app, where you could also access the remote start, but because it's got it on the key fob, figured I'd show you guys that you can start it from the fob. The mirrors, you can see, you can set them to electrically fold in. If you want to shut off the truck, just push that button again twice, that'll shut off the truck. Now, as you approach the door, you can see there's a button on the outside here that locks the door. When you touch the back of the door handle, that also unlocks the door. It has the signature keypad over there where you can type in a code if you want to leave the keys inside the vehicle. And you can see my tester here, the code orange exterior is complemented by the standard black leather interior, where it has kind of this suede Alcantara. It has a little bit of contrast stitching. It's got the Raptor embossed into the actual seat back. These seats are also heated and ventilated. They offer a 3-person massage. They offer like 12 different ways of adjustability. The Raptor also has its own unique specific steering wheel. And my tester also has a carbon fiber package. You can see there's carbon fiber, genuine stuff on the door panels and on the dash. There's a nice padded area over here, nice padded over here, and then you can see the B&O stereo in this truck also sounds pretty good. Not quite as good as what I heard in the Ram TRX with its Harman Kardon 18 speaker, but very good nonetheless. Now, my tester has this really nice, sturdy, almost rock rail-like step rail to help get you inside the truck, and then there's also a handle here for shorter drivers like myself. But once you kind of use both of those, you can kind of hoist yourself in. When I shut the door has a nice, solid sounding thunk. So again, this is an expensive truck. It actually gives you a really great first impression of quality, and Ford has really stepped up their game here on terms of the interior. Now, to start it up, the button is right here where you'd expect it to be. It's kind of blocked by the steering wheel. But once you find that, you can see all Raptors come basically with 2 12-inch displays. This is such a huge upgrade over the previous generation. Because this is now based on the new F-150, the technology just got a lot better. You can see the steering wheel is Raptor specific. It feels really thick. I also like this point over here where it has like the same color as the exterior. A lot of race style steering wheels do that. I do wish that Ford had done a flat bottom wheel. Again, it says Raptor over here. Perhaps maybe the upcoming Raptor R will have that flat bottom wheel. You have these really nice metal paddle shifters that are mounted to the actual wheel itself. The 12-inch display here is slightly customizable. You can see that's what it looks like via the digital display. You can also change out the way this looks by using these buttons on the steering wheel. There's also an off-road mode here that shows all your different usual stuff when you're off-roading. The dashboard, you can see, has a soft touch injection molded plastic with some faux stitching. Same thing here on this side. There's a little bit of storage over here. The B&O stereo, you can see there's a speaker up there, some genuine carbon fiber and aluminum trim here. This massive 12-inch display is nice because it includes things like wireless Apple CarPlay, which is definitely great. I do wish that Ford would allow me to take up the entire screen here with CarPlay, but this right here doesn't change. You can kind of change this, but you can't actually make it one continuous screen, which I kind of wish they would offer that. But again, this looks a lot better versus the previous generation Raptor. And I think I might prefer this over the 12-inch vertical display that you get in the Ram, although I haven't had a chance to drive the newest Ram because Ram just gave it the Uconnect 5 system where it has, again, the portrait style as opposed to the landscape style that this truck has. The steering wheel, you can see my tester has a high package for about $5,000 that gives you a power tilt and telescoping wheel. You also get a heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats, like I've said. You've got dual zone climate control. And then your drive mode selector is right here. If you start to twist this around, you can see it shows you 6 different drive modes, I believe. There's like the Baja, which is the most race focused. There's a rock crawl. And then if you twist it over to the left, there's a normal, a sport, a tow haul mode, and then a slippery mode. So I love the graphics that Ford puts on this truck. I think it really makes the truck feel a lot more premium and upscale. Sport mode is what I'll show you guys out on the road. We're going to be driving this out on the road later on. The exhaust system now has this ability to change out how loud it is. When you push this exhaust button, you can see there's 4 exhaust modes. There's a quiet mode for when you want to start up the truck and not piss off your neighbors. Normal, sport, and then Baja. Baja, Ford says, is for off-road use only. From inside the truck, it doesn't sound terribly loud. It's actually on the outside where this truck sounds incredibly JDM. I'll let you guys hear that really quick. So yeah, I do wish that Ford offered a little more noise from the inside, but you can't argue with that sound. Now, coming back over here to the center stack, when I put the truck into reverse, you can see there is a backup camera here with 360 perimeter scan. It's got parking sensors front and rear, a top-down view, which the resolution and the graphics looks good. I like how Ford utilizes the entire screen. You can see there's the factory GPS in this truck, which Ford's system, it works pretty well. It's nothing super great in terms of map resolution and graphics, but you can see it's gotten so much more quick, so much snappier to use, and I really like that. There are several features here where you can adjust the driver assistance. My tester has the Pro Power on board, which basically gives you 2 kilowatts of power. So keep in mind, if you guys want more, you have to go to the hybrid version, which offers up to 7,200 watts of power. This is the lower system because they don't offer the hybrid powertrain on the Raptor, which most people are going to be okay with because of that lovely V6. So that's still good. You can see your trailer brake controller is over here. You've got these big knobs and buttons. I love how Ford still does actual buttons for the heated and cooled seats. You can see, open this up, there's a wireless phone charging pad over there, 2 USB charging ports, a USB-A and a USB-C. Because this is, again, based off of the new F-150, you can do things like push this button over here. The shifter will fold down, which is pretty nifty, and then you can kind of open this up and create like a little work table here. So very immensely practical. You can use this easily to put a laptop computer here to do a little bit of work. That's pretty cool. And that only works if the vehicle's in park. Open this up, you can see pretty big size center console. You kind of expect that when a lot of these trucks. Nice padded area here, cup holders here, more cup holders over here. And then over here on this side, you can see there is a separate glove box here. So you've got 2 tiers. You have one over here with real carbon fiber and another one over here again where it's a bin style. It's not super big there. You have a 12 volt here and an actual 110 power outlet. The 4-wheel drive system, you can see, offers a 2 high, 4 automatic, 4 high, 4 low. There's also a locking rear diff. My Tester also has the Torsen limited slip differential. You can also activate your tow mirrors here. A lot more controls here to open up the power tailgate. And then you can see My Tester is missing the pano sunroof option, which is like an extra $2,000. It should just be standard in something like this. But overall, you can see how roomy, how wide this cabin is, the commanding view of the road. The new Raptor's interior is definitely at the top of its game. It's not the most luxurious feeling, but it's got authentic materials, it's got great tech, and I think a lot of you are going to find the seats to be very comfortable and the visibility to be very good. Now, because the Raptor only comes as a 4-door Super Crew now, obviously we expect the back seat to be huge. And before I actually show the interior and get back here, I want to show you guys the underfloor storage back here, which, as you can see, flip this up and there's a pretty good amount of space. It's actually almost a completely flat floor, but there's this really cool bin that kind of opens up. You can lock it from here, and you can see you can put stuff in here where it won't slide around, or you can put wet and dirty items in here, which is definitely nice. It kind of folds down there and then hides away. And then if you pull this strap over here, it actually brings the seat cushion back down. Now, getting back here, Ford says there is a massive 43.5 inches of legroom back here. 43.5. Basically, it has as much legroom as the last Mercedes-Benz S-Class that I drove, the new version. And at 5'7", you can see I can get back here, I can stretch out, I can get really comfortable. The seats don't do that recline feature that you get in the Ram 1500. But you can see because it's so wide, you can easily fit 3 people across. There's a nice armrest here, fold down, gives you 2 cup holders. There's heated back seats back here with 2 different levels. And then you can see there's all kinds of power options here. There's 2 USB charging ports, an actual household power outlet. You have cup holders up here, and then you have 2 storage pockets right here, which is definitely nice. My Tester is missing the pano roof option for an extra $2,500, which would let in a lot more light, but this rear window here does still slide open if you guys need to access stuff in the bed or just kind of get a little bit of fresh air back here. So we are finally behind the wheel of the brand new Ford F-150 Raptor. Now, when I drove the new Ram TRX last year, I proclaimed it to be the most bonkers factory-produced truck that money could buy. The Raptor previously had held that title. Keep in mind, as of this filming, I have not driven the GMC Hummer EV or the Rivian R1T. Those are the new electric trucks. But now that we finally have the Raptor for a week, this is not the Raptor R with the V8. That's coming later this year, but this has the standard 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. So I have the vehicle in sport mode right now. I want to test out what it can do 0 to 60 wide. Ford does not actually say what this truck can do, but we're going to find out. So I'm not going to brake torque it. I'm just going to floor it. In my first run, I got 0 to 60 in 5.38 seconds. 5.38 is not bad. That is not obviously as fast as the Ram TRX. I think the fastest I got with that truck was at least a second faster. So clearly, the Ram has the advantage. But you know what's really interesting about this truck is the fact that for a twin-turbo V6, Ford really nailed the sound. That noise coming out from the back reminds me of like a Japanese sports car, Japanese supercar. And the cool thing is that was in sport mode that you guys heard. I'm gonna actually switch the exhaust into Baja mode, which Ford technically says Baja mode is for off-road use only, but why not? I wanna hear what the difference is. It makes a really nice noise, and you gotta love the sound this thing makes. And we're just gonna floor it again from a stop. And that run I got 5.7 seconds. So 5.4 seconds 0 to 60 sounds about right. This truck weighs, remember, like 5,800 pounds, so this is certainly no lightweight, but it has great power. I mean, 450 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque is nothing to sneeze at. And the fact that Ford is working on a Raptor R, which should have the Shelby GT500's 5.2-liter supercharged V8, gets me super excited. I mean, for an internal combustion truck, this and the Ram TRX, the upcoming Raptor R, are about as good as it gets until I finally get my hands on the new Rivian R1T and drive the GMC Hummer EV, which I should be driving in about a month or so. So now that we're just on the road here, the Raptor, the regular Raptor with its twin turbo, with its 10-speed auto, put my foot down here, you can hear the exhaust sounds so good in this truck. And the cool thing about this thing is I have it in 4-wheel drive auto right now. I can actually switch it to 2-wheel drive. And it was in, try it one more time. It was in 2-wheel drive mode, that's why. All right, let's try it one more time here. We're gonna have it in 4-wheel drive auto. It's in sport mode, traction control is off. There we go. And for some reason, the transmission would not let me shift. Like, it wouldn't actually rev it. I'm gonna redo that. That was horrible. What the f is going on with this truck? What was that about? I did not like it when I did that. I like how Ford gives you a full-time four-wheel drive system as well. It's got a low range, obviously, and everything like that. But this truck will do a burnout if you leave it in 2-wheel drive mode. It lets the tail step out, which is hilarious. And you can kind of credit the fact that it does have much better handling this year because of that new 5-link coil rear suspension. It's not an independent setup, but my tester on the 35-inch tall tires puts the power down surprisingly well, yet it will have fun when you want to have some fun in this thing. And that's what I think makes the Raptor super unique. Like, put my foot down here, you can literally feel the back stepping out a little bit. Listen to that. Oh, the 10-speed just has these quick shifts. And you can even use the paddles here. You can hear the engine. It's so much better sounding this year. It feels like I'm driving a Japanese sports car. That's the coolest thing about the new Raptors. I love the pull, I love the engine sound, I love the exhaust, I love the transmission. Yes, it's not as fast as the Ram, but 5.4 seconds I think is plenty fast, but I am very much still looking forward to driving the Raptor R, and then let alone the Lightning. The Lightning is gonna be like 4.5 seconds 0 to 60. It's gonna be even quicker than this, and this used to be like the pinnacle of all Raptor, or all F-150s is this. Oh, listen to it when it shifts. It's so Japanese and JDM sounding. I love that sound. But nevertheless, you know, Raptors are obviously built to go off-roading. I'm not gonna have a chance to test this vehicle off-roading because I don't have it. I had the truck for a week, but I've also been gone for the Chicago Auto Show. So I really only had it for a couple days, but I have to say, out on the road, this is where people are gonna be driving a Raptor anyways. This truck has surprisingly good road manners. The fact that it's 6 inches wider than a standard F-150 really makes the truck kind of a chore on tighter, twisty roads, or if you guys live in the city, you're gonna find this to be a little bit difficult. But once you kind of get used to the width, once you kind of get used to driving this truck, it actually is a really comfortable truck. I'm gonna switch the drive mode here back into normal. So when we go to normal, it's gonna put the exhaust into a quieter setting. The transmission is gonna stop wanting to downshift all the time and be in lower gears. And it basically just settles in and you're driving a regular F-150, aside from the fact that it's a lot wider. These 35-inch tall tires actually aren't quite as noisy as I thought they'd be. Ford does a really good job here with the sound deadening into this truck. The driver assistance package that my tester has, it's got the Ford Co-Pilot, but you cannot get Ford's Blue Cruise in this truck. You can in the Lightning, but not in the Raptor. The Ford Co-Pilot 360 with adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, it works far better than the system that I've tried in the Ram TRX, which was a decent system until I tried Ford systems. It works extremely well. The visibility in this truck is also better versus the Ram. I can see out of the front a little bit better. I also like how Ford, the F-150 has this like signature kink right here in the front windows. It really allows you to see around the truck a lot better. View out of the back is good. The seats are also comfortable, although this one here has the standard seats that you get in the Raptor, and they don't hug you in place very much. They're pretty much designed for a wider frame person to sit in here in comfort. I would probably say For me, I would go for the Recaro style seats you can get with an upgrade package. I'd also get this panoramic sunroof that this one's locking for another $2,000. But overall, you know, in my week's worth of testing, I've been averaging about 14 mpg in the city. On the highway, I did get up to 18 miles to the gallon, which is actually pretty good. Much better gas mileage versus the Ram. The TRX would do about 300 miles on a full tank because of that thirsty supercharged V8. This on a full tank was showing 490 miles. So excellent range because it's got a big 36-gallon gas tank. Easy to drive, aside from the fact that you've got to get used to how wide it is and how big it is. But once you kind of get past that, the Raptor really is an easy truck to live with. That has immense capabilities. I mean, I can basically drive over any terrain, any speed bump, any pothole. I can go right over them. I don't even notice until you kind of get to tight areas and you're like, oh wow, this truck is really wide. But it just makes you feel like king of the road. It may not be the king of the, you know, acceleration anymore, at least until the R comes out, but I'd argue that this V6 has plenty of power, plenty of torque, a good sound now. So Ford fixed my complaint with the second generation Raptor. And much better gas mileage. So if you're looking for something like this and you're okay with the fact that it's not the fastest, but it gets better gas mileage, it's just easier to live with, this new Raptor is really, really hard to beat. Now, of course, last year, Ram set the bar pretty high with the Hellcat-powered Ram TRX, which I proclaimed it to be the most bonkers high-performance off-road truck that money could buy. Now, of course, we were all waiting for Ford performance to respond, and now that I've had a chance to drive the new Raptor, I'm pretty confident in saying that the Raptor still, for me, is a very well-rounded high-performance off-road truck. It can't technically beat the Ram TRX in a straight line. However, 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds is certainly nothing to sneeze at. This is about a second to a second and a half seconds slower versus the Ram. However, keep in mind that Ford Performance will be introducing a Raptor R, which will include the supercharged V8 from the Shelby GT500. Super excited to drive that, but really where the Raptor shines versus the Ram for me is in the everyday livability. This truck is almost 1,000 pounds lighter. It's not quite as wide or as tall as the Ram, which makes it a little bit easier to drive, a little bit easier to live with. I also like the interior of this truck more. I found the seats to be a little bit more comfortable. I found the infotainment system to work a little bit better. I like Ford's Sync 4 system and its 12-inch display. And I also like the exterior styling. Now, of course, styling is going to be a subjective thing, but I think in this code orange color, this truck seriously gets a lot of attention. And it's only gonna get even better when Ford introduces the Raptor R. I also like the Pro Power on board. It just makes this a much more usable truck in daily life. And I think that's what's gonna make the Raptor even more appealing. Now, if you guys are looking to get your hands on this vehicle, you're gonna be waiting or you're gonna have to pay a markup because Raptors have always sold for a markup, and Ford has made this a lot more expensive this year, sadly. This truck starts at around $65,000. That's about $7,700 more versus the previous generation. However, keep in mind that Ford used to offer an even baser version of the Raptor. They used to offer the Super Cab configuration, which they got rid of all that. Now Raptors come pretty well equipped, starting at $65,000. Now keep in mind, that's about 10 grand less versus the Ram TRX. So it is a lot less expensive. My tester, of course, with some of the optional extras that it has on the interior, the Raptor High package is probably the most expensive for about $5,000. This one here, stickers for about $76,000. That's before the dealer markup. I've seen Ford dealers typically charge between 5 to 10 grand extra, and people are paying them all day long because remember, it's a Raptor, which makes this truck obviously expensive, but some of the Ram TRXs that I've driven have been well over $90,000. This truck also will compete sort of with a Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, which is also around $66,000. And then of course, GM still hasn't really responded, but they did come out with a Silverado ZR2. Haven't had a chance to drive that yet. Although I'd argue that the Raptor still offers plenty to like about it because of its just appealing combination of technology, capability, style, and space and practicality on the inside. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2022 Ford F-150 Raptor. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.